Hello, everyone. It's Amy from raisingarrows.net here, and it's been a little bit since I did a video, but I thought I'd just sit down and talk a little bit today here at my desk in my bedroom about managing your home well and what that actually means and the difference between what we think it means and what it really means and how that will affect your homemaking, your parenting, your homeschooling, all of that. So before we dive in though, I want to share with you my homeschooling scheduling e-course, which is called Creating a Homeschool Schedule You Love. And this e-course is at a reduced price now because I want everybody to be able to afford to have a homeschool schedule that they love. This class will take you step by step through how to create a schedule with your specific curriculum, how to create something that works with your family's dynamic rather than against your family's dynamic. And it is something that you will have lifetime access to, so that when circumstances change, when you need to adjust, you can go back through the class again, take it again, readjust the schedule because that's how life is, and have yet another homeschooling schedule that you absolutely love. So the link to that will be down in the description, and you can snag that and get started here this spring putting together that schedule that will carry you through as long as you need it until you have to go back and redo it again. But these steps are totally doable, very simplified. I really try to break it down for you so it's super easy. So anyway, that's down in the description. Grab that because that will totally revolutionize the way that you do your homeschooling and the order that you do your homeschooling in. Now, as far as managing your home, homeschooling is one aspect of that. You are the manager of your home, and if you homeschool, that includes having a homeschool schedule and having a slot in your day for that homeschooling that fits your family. So when you take that class, you'll see some different ideas for fitting that in, but ultimately everything that you do in your home to manage your home needs to have a place that fits and almost fits automatically, like something you don't have to think about very much. Now, you do have to build those systems and routines that create a schedule and a routine that causes you to just, do the next thing because you don't really have to think too much about it. And for a time, there's going to be, as you're building that system, there's going to be the need to kind of think it through, but it needs to be simplified enough that you don't have to think a lot about it. You don't have to really concentrate and think through all the steps. It needs to have very simple steps to create those systems. So for instance, if you need a laundry system, you would do laundry on a certain day. And you would have each of the kids have a certain day or however you wanted to work it, but you don't want it to be something where 1 week it's on this day and 1 week it's on this day and it changes all the time. You'll never be able to keep track of that. So things need to be very streamlined and very simple so that you can follow those systems. Right now, I am putting together a meal list of people who are going to cook the meal. And part of that is making sure that when they have their turn, it's on a day that I truly need them to cook the meal. So days like Friday and Sunday, when I'm going to be working on the blog in the afternoon, I need somebody else to cook the meal so that I'm not the one in charge of it that day. I also have someone else taking care of it on Wednesday so that when I go to our church's women's group every other Wednesday, it's already taken care of. Somebody else is going to cook the meal. I don't have to think about it that day. So your systems have to be super simplified but make sense for your family. And I talk about this all the time, particularly on the podcast, because I want you to understand that we are all individual families. We are all different. My family's routine and the circumstances and the way that we do things is totally different from someone else's. We might have some similarities, but there's always going to be differences. It's kind of like a unique fingerprint. We have this certain fingerprint that belongs to our family, and we need to work within what that looks like and not try to figure out how to make other people's routines and such work for us because we are all so very different. God did not create a bunch of cookie cutter Christians. We are very different. We serve different purposes within the body of Christ, and we need to embrace those and acknowledge those and work within those. So when I say managing your home well, it's your home. That's the key thing I want you to take away from this, is that it is your home, and that is going to look different for every single family. For instance, what if your husband has a home business and you are needed to do some of the book work, or you're needed to do some of the marketing or traveling or something like that? Managing your home may mean that you've got to carve out some time that other women may not need to carve out in order to be that helper, in order to further that mission. You're going to need a different schedule than Susie Homemaker down the street is going to need. And so managing your home well is not necessarily making sure you make your bed every morning, or making sure that you have dinner on the table at 5 p.m., or making sure that all of the kids show up to church with matching socks and their hair looks brushed. That's not necessarily managing your home well. Are those good ideas? Sure they are. They're helpful. They have an appearance, but they might not actually mean you're managing your home well. Ultimately, at the end of the day, home is not about appearances. It's about relationships. And if the relationships are suffering because you've done a really good job of creating some great appearances, you have not managed your home well, my friend. That is not the definition. You've not done it. If you are not helping to further the mission of your home, whatever God has given your family to do, if you're severing relationships with your husband and your children, and you're a crabby mom and things are just rotten and falling apart, but you made your bed and you got all the dishes done, I'm just going to tell you, I don't think that's necessarily what being a manager of your home means. Now, I mentioned in my last video about how home was my word for the year, about how, things kind of fell apart right as I was diving into this because my kids got sick. Well, that's not things falling apart. Like I said in that video, that's actually my opportunity to manage my home well with the circumstances that I currently am dealing with. As a mother of many children, there is a good chance that at any given time, my house is going to be a mess. There's going to be a bunch of dishes in the sink, and life is going to be a little bit chaotic. It's how I handle those things that makes the difference. It's how I deal with the people in my home that makes the difference. And I will tell you straight up, friends, my son is editing this video and he is going to tell you that last week I was a nightmare. I was not a very fun mom because I came in and I kind of fell apart and the house was a wreck and I was not a very nice mommy. And that was because I was looking at the appearance. I was not looking at the relationships. I was not working on my own heart attitude. I just wanted to snap my fingers and have it all come together and everybody do what I wanted them to do and not have to work on anything or have anybody, learn anything. I just wanted it done. And some days are like that. Sometimes I find myself just wanting people to get it done and leave me out of the equation. Do your work and don't make me have to step in. But I am the manager. I am the supervisor. I am the boss. And if I just sit back and sit in my room and sit in my recliner and type on my computer and check my phone, I am a really bad boss. I am not in there hands-on, checking quality control, making sure people are doing their jobs, supervising in a way that actually manages the home well. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect. It just means that I am hands-on participating in this as if this thing belonged to me and was important to me. And so I think that's where we get a little bit sidetracked, is we think if we just get it all done, then we can take a break. And instead, we need to be focused on continually working at home. And that's what Titus 2 talks about. Titus 2 women, the older women teaching the younger women, it does talk about, loving your children and your husband and working at home, being busy at home. But it does not specify what that means. And it's not like that says, make sure that your dishes are all done and your laundry's all done. What it really means is that you need to be continually progressing, moving forward, working at things. It's not going to be perfect. That is not what God calls us to. He does not call us to be perfect. That is what his son did for us. We do not need to be perfect ourselves. We are just working. We are busy. We are doing the things that we are supposed to be doing, managing the things we are supposed to be managing, and taking ownership of those things and working as unto the Lord, not as unto ourselves, trying to meet, all of our own needs and just sit there and hope that everything works out. We have to be physically present, mentally present, emotionally present, working on things. And then when we need breaks, take your break. I have a video about that as well. Taking those mom breaks. They should refresh you, re-energize you, put you back in the game, not make you want to have more breaks. They should be something that actually helps you to get back to the job. And so when it comes to managing your home well, those are the things I want you to think about. I want you to think about, how involved are you? What kind of manager are you? Are you grumpy and irritated and really a pain to work for? Or are you a mother who is lovingly coming alongside her children and supervising them and helping them learn the things they need to learn, taking the breaks when she needs to take the breaks, but getting back in there and managing things and managing them well, day in and day out, because that is what her job is and she's good at it. You want to be good at this. And you want to measure yourself by the Lord's measurement, not by what somebody else's family looks like, because you managing your home is going to look different from me managing my home. We cannot compare, we cannot compete. This is a very individualized thing. So really consider who you are as a family, who God created you to be, the mission that he has for you, and move forward, my friends.